Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. This is going to be a... Hold on a second. This is going to be Earth Elemental reading for October 14th through November 13th. So we're dealing in particular with the planets Venus, Mercury, and Saturn. And if you're watching or cross-watching for any particular zodiac signs, we have Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. There's a lot of retrograde energy pulling through Taurus and Capricorn because we've just had Pluto retrograding in Capricorn. It only went direct like a week before this reading on the 6th of October. And Uranus is retrograding through Taurus. Additionally, Saturn, which is Capricorn energy here, barely just went direct in Aquarius as of this reading. And it's tied to Sagittarius, which is going direct on the 18th of October. But for some reason, the Sagittarian energy for this time period is also tied to the Neptune retrograde. And I'll get to that in a second. So Mercury and Jupiter are going direct on the 18th of October. And then there's the full moon in Aries on the 20th of October. And then there's a new moon on the 4th of November. So I'm looking at where the moon is from this time period, and there's a callback because on the 14th and 15th of October, the moon's in Aquarius. I believe that is the Seven of Swords. Yeah. Although that's the traditional, I've reassigned it Pluto in Aquarius, but even so, Saturn and Capricorn is linked to Aquarius right now because of those retrogrades, and then Pluto's sitting in Capricorn. So either way, it works out as the Seven of Swords energy. And then, so the moon is in Aquarius on October 14th and 15th, and then again on November 10th and 11th. So it's like before the full moon and that new moon, we get an energy rating, and then after we've gone through the gauntlet, we get another one. And then we've got a callback from Pisces from the 16th and 17th, right before those retrogrades go direct. And then the moon in Pisces again on November 12th to 14th. So because the moon has a 29-day cycle, and any month that's longer than that, we usually find that there's callback energies where the moon is in the same sign that it was previously. Doesn't happen every month, depending on the 2 to 3 days, but most months it happens, so there's at least one. So here we have a double. But you can see that because of that recall of the moon energy, it's sort of tying the Neptune energy to those other retrogrades dealing with Aquarius and Saturnian energy. So what else is going on? On the 5th of November, Mercury and Mars are going to be hanging out in the same place in Scorpio. And on the 4th and 5th of November, we have Mercury and Venus moving on the same day. Not in the same place, but they're just on the same day, right when that new moon is happening. So that's going to have some kind of effect on things also. Is that it? I think that's all the stuff I was going to talk about. Yes. That is all the things I was going to talk about. Okay, so the spread that I'm doing for this month's series is called Triangulation. It's a new spread that I'm still working on. I've only done it twice. I think it's working pretty well. So I'm using for the triangle of the triangulation the Radley Valentine Angel deck here, which I've cleared and shuffled already. And for the beginning and end cards, I'm using the elemental hexagons. So I did clear and shuffle these already, but I'm going to shuffle them a little bit more on film and in the studio. Let me get this. Oh, okay, that's better. Approximately focused. Probably be wrong in a minute anyway. I thought I have a spare set of these because they are getting very worn on the edges. These hexagonal ones are fairly thin, and they're a little bit harder to shuffle actually than the heart-shaped cards that I've got. I'll get these ones a little bit more. Oh, I should point out that I keep forgetting to say thank you to any new watchers or subscribers. I've gotten a couple new people recently, and I don't want to ignore that. It's not that I'm not grateful, because every time I see the number going up, I say thank you out loud to make sure that I'm acknowledging, you know, the increase. But when I actually go to record, I'm usually so focused that I just kind of forget everything except for what I'm doing exactly. So I want to say thank you to everyone that's watched my stuff recently, commented, and subscribed especially. So the more people that kind of participate, the more I'm likely to be seen. I feel like a lot of my readings have been really strong lately, and I'd love for more than 10 people to see them. Unless you're watching my channel for the Adventures with Plastic Crack, then by all means, come and hang out with me and listen to me wax philosophically about all the ridiculous doll knowledge I've crammed into my head. You know, and generally just playing with stuff. Sometimes I post art too. I've been really busy lately. I haven't made anything new. I'm still advertising and cataloging my 25 years of crap that I have hanging around. Eventually I'd like to get to a point where I'm only just making new art, but you know, gotta make the steps to get there. Gotta finish existing projects before I get all into the new ones, because I've got a big painting to finish, and I've got this I've got a stack of foam over here for more foam lotuses. I've got project dolls that aren't finished. I've got 3 decks that I'm working on that I started 2 years ago that aren't done yet. So I've got it in my head to make bas-relief or 3D charms. Right now I've only got paper ones for sale, but it's all a start. It's all moving in the forward direction. All right. So I have a Capricorn stellium, so this reading is probably going to come for me. Let me get the triangle set up here. The table's shaking. It's because I got my elbows down. I don't know where this last month and a half has gone. I barely got used to the idea that September was over, and we're like chonking away through October here. I'm actually recording this earlier than I normally do because I'm trying to get back ahead of my new schedule. I've been barely... I'm going to restart because I didn't like that those were flipped over, because now I don't know where they go. I've been barely keeping up with my schedule, getting stuff done just, you know, like a day or two ahead of time. But I want to open that time back up so I can really get into some projects. I've been working on organizing my materials, so I'm trying to get into that Queen of Pentacles energy, but it doesn't feel like I'm cleaning up my life when I'm only just working on stuff on the computer. These cards are upside down. It's already giving me retrograde energy. So the card to start with is kind of like coming through a portal, like it's coming through the triangle, like right in the middle. You see that? So it's like this is the past, the present, and the future, and because all the times are sort of roiling around at the same time, and we only experience them linearly, but they still have an effect on each other. But this that's coming out of the portal between the times in your life converging is where we get what the problem is that's being worked on. Like what's the main issue? So we start with one of those cards, and then we read the triangle. And then to finish up, I have another one of these that's like a conclusion and commentary card. I have a double here, and I'm going to take it. 2 cards chucked out. So that's going to be the starting double. Give me Gemini energy. Okay, and there's the end card. So, let's see what we have. Make sure this is in the camera. I'm going to put this back on the planets because we're really dealing with the movement of the planets in terms of retrogrades and direct. So we have Venus and Mercury moving at the same time on November 5th, and then we have Mercury and Capricorn, Mercury and Saturn going from retrograde to direct in particular. I think that's maybe. Okay, so the overall thing that's being worked on, we have 2 cards here. I've seen cadmium somewhat recently in one of the other readings that I've done. So we have cadmium, pigments, and energy. And then we have phosphorus, a fork in the road, which is related to 20, the judgment card. So phosphorus number 15, we have the path splitting open. And then we have cadmium, like, are we painting the brick road yellow? Is it red? Is it green? Like what are we making out of the path we're taking? And do we have the energy to finish the project? And this judgment is kind of usually finishing the project, but here it's like whichever choice you make to, like, whichever version of your creation you decide to complete decides where you're going. Okay, so we have 48, which breaks down to 12, which breaks down to 3. Is it giving me this idea of recombining and building something new? And then 15 is bringing in to me devil energy, which is just Saturn. Although 3 can also be the Empress, which is Venus energy. But I notice that these are both divisible by 3. Or is it? 24. 8. Yeah, so 16 times 3, and then 5 times 3. And 16 breaks down to 7, which is Chariot energy. So there's like, it's like the wheels are turning. Right, the hamster wheel is moving, but there's like a lack of transition to the material world in some way. Right, I have all these ideas, but I don't know which one to start first, so I haven't done anything. These are both these cards are both in the segment in this deck called Metaphysical World, and it's hell. But to me that just means more of that devil energy. It's this idea of, you know, I'm sort of trapped by this wall of ideas that goes on forever and ever, and in order to get somewhere I have to choose something. I have to make a judgment call as to what my energy is best put into at this time. 48 and 15 is 63, which breaks down to 9, which is the Hermit, which is Virgo energy. You know, it's like I need to go within to find my inner compass, my inner GPS to tell me where to go and what to do first. Okay, so let's look at the past. Okay, so the past energy is, it's not very focused. That looks a little better. So we have the 8 of Fire, which is the 8 of Wands. This is coming in inverted. This is a mercurial energy, though. Right, Mercury in Sagittarius? Yeah, Mercury in Sagittarius. So Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius until October 18th. And Mercury retrograde in Aquarius until October 18th. This is like things are moving slowly, right? Like molasses in January. Slower than dog shit. And or it's a communication breakdown. Right, there's a Led Zeppelin in there. It's a communication breakdown. It's always the same. So when this is upright, it says events moving at a fast pace. Delays are over. Many things are happening at once. Right here, it's like, again, there's this idea of I have so many things going on, I don't know what to do, so I'm just not going to do anything. It's a very, like, anxiety, like, bipolar type of energy. Like, do all the things, or just do none of the things and then be upset because you didn't do anything. This is this past energy. It's very slow, stressful, like unproductive feeling. And we see that it's coming in this fire center. It could be due to a lack of self-confidence or an ego that wants to self-sabotage, because if you actually go and create something, you might have success, and then your ego of lack will start to wither as you become more balanced and have a fulfillment. So this future space, we have the 5 of Earth, which I believe is Capricornian energy. Is that? Oh no, the 4 is Capricorn. 5 is Taurus, which is Venus energy. Here we're dealing with, we are dealing with Taurus. I was like, no, but it's Virgo. Okay, so we have Taurian energy here. Inverted. Traditionally, Mercury in Taurus, though I did reassign it Uranus in Taurus. This is that Uranus in Taurus retrograde, which is continuing at least until December, if not the beginning of the year. But we do want to see the 5 of Pentacles inverted, because that means that we're no longer feeling left out. It says, fears surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, uncertain self-employment. When this energy with those words comes inverted, it's I've figured out what to do. Maybe I'm delegating. Maybe I'm getting the help that I need. maybe maybe I'm not getting business partners, maybe I'm getting clients. You know, if somebody's finally interested in what I've got to sell in some way, and it could be literal in terms of employment, or it could be metaphorical. Nobody's, you know, it's like I'm not selling myself in any way where like I have no charisma, but now people are interested in what I'm doing. You know, people actually listen to me when I talk, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, and in this energy between essentially between mid-October and sometime in December or the beginning of the year, there's a space. Oh, this is the present. God damn it. I don't know why I can't do this right. This is the present. So we're saying in this time that's happening right now, within the next month and a half, this is what we're going to be seeing, right? We're trying to get over this idea of not taking a pathway. I'm just mad that I said that wrong. It doesn't really matter because we're dealing with a time that's past and one that's beyond the past, but this is the present. And this is only the third time I've done this spread, so I apologize for that, but this is the present energy. We're getting over, we're transitioning this this overhaul of Uranus retrograde in Taurus. It's like deeply grounding these cosmic concepts in order to create new ways of communicating and dealing with other people. And that's part of why this energy that's coming through within the next month and a half is 2 months, might be 2 months. That's why this energy is coming through, is going to change the way that what you're selling is being received, right? That, you know, like maybe I was buried some way, but now I'm like radiating. Like my ideas are suddenly more appealing to other people because they're like opening up to what I actually mean when I present them with something. Okay. So this one is actually the future card. And we have the Six of Water. The way this is set up, this card in particular comes in a challenge position. This is something that the future is holding that's tied to what's going on in the past and in the present. This could have been going on for years, and this is something that's going on within like the last couple months to the next couple months. And then this future is like any time, basically, like starting next year or next week, or, you know, as soon as you get your shit together. So this says memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, romanticizing the past. So this could be an inner child issue, dealing with whenever you like brought something, you're like, Mommy, Daddy, look what I made. And then instead of being like, oh, good job, it's like, well, you did this wrong and this wrong and this wrong with it. And like, what's this piece of crap? And don't bother me and be quiet. I'm watching the game. You know, stop, go to bed. You're up too late. You're drawing or reading or singing or whatever. Like, I can hear you in there. Any of those kinds of things. You know, this idea of, I wanted to do this when I was little, but now I grew up and I didn't have those opportunities. That kind of stress is coming away. This energy is a scorpionic energy, the sun in Scorpio. And because it's in a challenge position, we see that it's something that's being kind of washed through with these moon cycles that are happening between the 14th of October and 13th of November. We're also dealing with the sun in Scorpio during that time frame. Um, so it's weird because these energies, again, are all creating something that's happening now, but the present is this overcoming not being seen. The past is I have so many ideas, I can't do any of them. And this future energy is clearing the feeling of, um, people don't really love me for what I am expressing. Um, and it's something that's being healed. It's sort of like, I'm not going to romanticize this childhood where I was, happy and I could do anything I wanted, because it ultimately there's a path and a choice to be made. But this is a resolution that's dealing with like deeply emotional like stuff that's suppressed into the subconscious, that has a lot to do with creative flow. And this is sort of addressing any ego roadblocks that are still affecting this situation. So let's look at this resolution card here. So we have radium, dangerous beauty, physical world ornament. This is in look 88. So we start with this 8, and now we have 88, which is 11 times that. This is a universal timing number. It's a supercharged level up kind of a number. So we see some jellyfish here. There's this bioluminescent energy, but it's sort of like, my Marie Curie, you look radiant. But it's something it's like, I think of radioactive decay, but I also think of something that's useful as a tool, but can be toxic if you're around it too much. Right? It's like, ooh, it's sparkly, it's decorative. So what does dangerous beauty mean? I think this has to do with superficiality. 8 and 8 combines to 16, which is a tower moment. If we consider... Oh, let's see, 5 and 6 makes 11. If we consider that people sometimes subjugate their true expression in order to fit in with the crowd, to be more popular, to kind of pander to the lowest common denominator, to not stick out too much. We say like, okay, well, now I'm pretty, like now I'm okay, everybody likes me. But there's also this idea that being in contact with that kind of energy over a long period of time can be toxic. Much of the same way that if you're radiating, even if you're trying to blend in like someone else, your natural energy is going to kind of creep through the walls. Right? And it's like, if people catch a wind of that, it's like there's going to be fallout because of the tower moment that comes from like a roundhouse kick to the face energetically, of people being like, hey, wait a goddamn second here, I don't like that. Like even if you it's not necessarily the point of trying to blend in. It's like appearing like, here I like I'm trying to be normal, but it's like obvious that I'm not gonna be like everybody else, and you try to be in the place where other people are, and it's like they're vibrating at a different frequency, and it becomes extremely toxic for them to be around you. It's kind of like if you have the wrong blood type, you know, and you give it to someone else and it makes them sick. You know, it's not like it's not like you don't have any regard for other people, but there's a point where trying to make people accept you is just as toxic for you as it is for them, and the only way to really come through it is to have, you know, have this I'm trying to figure out how to say this. It's like you have an honor or an excitement or a pleasure about what it is that you're creating and making, where if you don't choose anything, the whole thing will collapse. But if you do choose something, it will be bright enough for other people to see through the bullshit around them and come to what you've put out. But the only difference is that you're not suppressing to fit in, you're choosing one of these, you know, you got to choose which lightning rod to grab onto, because it's like you can't have all of them. There's a certain amount of time and energy that you can manifest any given idea in the material world. If you were in a multi-dimensional space, you would have no time, infinite time, all the time, any time to create things, and you could manifest them instantly by the thought process alone. But because you have to make things from the ground up like this, there has to be a very like brick and mortar way of manifesting what's coming through. And this whole reading is basically it's like, it's sort of like how to balance your paddle boat, right? Because if you're only paddling with one, you know, it's like, I don't know how to keep making metaphors, but there's a certain balance that has to be maintained for forward movement. And being in a human body means that you're only able to do one task, one work at a time. And you might end up being able to do like 12 things at once, but you have to build up a groundwork. You have to have this platform that this pathway is going on. You know, it's like finding your own bioluminescence in order to understand that there isn't like this ostracization and lack of movement that's being oppressed upon you. And the universe isn't really punishing you either. It's not always like, oh, I'm not doing anything. Sometimes it's I'm doing too much, and that's why everything is slow. It's, in some ways, it's part of releasing the fear of nothing's going to happen if I'm not constantly doing it. You can make forward movement, but you have to pick a thing. Right? And it can also be in this leapfrog energy. You know, I've worked on this thing, and I need to stop forcing it and let the universe pick up the co-creation of it. So I'm going to put that down for a week or 3 months or a year. knowing that that I have what I'm knowing I'm going to work on it, or waiting for that download to take the next step on it, to know that when I do get back into it, that I'm taking it in the direction that it needs to go. Meanwhile, working on these other things, completing this task and then choosing another task to complete out of this, you know, I see it like in the Addams Family movie where they're trying to steal Gomez's gold in the treasure room, and there's like 40 chains hanging from the ceiling, and only one of them opens the chute to go down to the underground thing. It's like each time you pick a task to do, it's like pulling one of those 40 chains. And then when that task is set and you have to do something else for a while, or just different in general, you've got to choose another one. You can't just pull all of them at once. It doesn't work that way in the material world. So it's not really about patience or about waiting for your tribe to come in. It's sort of a, if you build it, they will come, but you actually have to do something. But even in the Field of Dreams movie, the If You Build It, They Will Come, there was a whole winter where Kevin Costner was just sitting like a morose motherfucker looking out the window. And that's this Eight of Wands in reverse. This energy is coming in, especially with these retrogrades, sort of indicating that these horse latitudes are coming to the end of their drift, and that the path of a direction to go in that will start bringing you more into a sense of functioning and being seen and completion is going to start opening up. But you have to there is an idea of integrating the inner child and understanding that picking one thing to work on doesn't mean that the other ones that you're failing to not get the other things done. They're still existing in space-time, and there's a good chance that you'll get to the unfinished business and grand ideas that you have in your lifetime. But sometimes you have to just say, oh man, that's a really good idea, but don't write it down on your to-do list. If it's a really good idea, then it'll come back up at the right time, right? It's sort of the same reason I don't write down my dreams, because if it's a really good one and really important, I'm going to remember it later. And that sort of needs to translate into the what I'm doing with my life kind of concept also. Not just for me, but for other people that are in a similar situation. Those like hurry up and wait kind of things. And also I find that like if I've waited a long time to start a project and I need supplies and I can't afford them, I finally go to get them and all of a sudden they're like half off or like 75% off on sale. And I've just gained abundance in that way because I've had to pay less, which is similar to getting extra money, right? I've gained value that I wasn't expecting. So that comes into play too in terms of universal timing and working on the projects that are in flow with a direction of travel. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there. If you'd like to get a triangulation reading for yourself, I haven't set it up yet to do them for personals, but you can email me and I'll work out the pricing. Otherwise, I'm just not going to work out the pricing until I feel like it. But if you want one before then, definitely email me and ask me about it. In the meantime, the rest of the spreads that I offer and how much they cost is going to be down below in that description box. My email here, thecatcameback@camp@gmail.com. I have coloring books, dark poetry, merch and prints and actual art items here. Coupon code 3star17 will get you 17% off a purchase of any 3 or more items on Etsy. It's anything from like a few bucks to over 150. All of that counts towards that discount. So check that out. There's 3-dimensional stuff, flat stuff, doll parts, little packets of mystery gift images and writing. There's some templates. There's the paper charm kits. So that's all there. If you want to donate, energy exchange, hit that tip jar, PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo if you found this helpful or useful. Everything here is through my Linktree, linktr.ee/cattheminion. So that's all of this stuff. Payment method, email, shopping, social media, and this stuff over here on the Kindle Direct Publishing. I also have a playlist that has samples of all the readings that I offer, so if you want to see those in action, check that out. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, check out my playlists tab, my discussion tab, and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye.